thought for the day. All you have is all you need.
Welcome to 7 Minutes for Yourself. I'm Christina Aina, and I'm so glad you've joined me for what I believe will be 7 of the most enriching minutes of your day. Let's take this time to reconnect with ourselves and improve our well-being.
In today's episode of 7 Minutes for Yourself, we are diving into the process of appreciating our areas that need improvement while continuing to pursue our goals. Have a listen.
So yes, if you're in a place where you feel like the textbook expectation should be that you should take one step at a time, take it one day at a time. I hate that phrase, by the way.
Instead of taking it one day at a time, what should we do?
Oh, we should take it all. Do everything. All at once. Make it messy. Make it unpredictable. Defy logic. Why does it have to be so ordered? One day at a time for what? One step at a time for what? Sometimes I'm gonna run. Sometimes I'm gonna skip. Sometimes I'm gonna go backwards. Sometimes I'm gonna lay down. Sometimes I'm gonna sit up and look at the world. And sometimes, yes, I will take one step. But why does it have to be so ordered all the time? And so the freedom in that, I think, allows us then to be multiple things at one time. So that, yes, you can be driven and in a dark place. You can be hurting and still laugh. You can be healing and still trying to figure out how to avoid the next hurt. All of those things can be true at the same time, and it doesn't have to mean that you're wrong or that you're doing it wrong. It's there's no definition for how you're supposed to live your life. And I think that's also the other beautiful thing. The fact that no one has ever been where I am before. Right. Not a person on the planet. And so it's why would I subscribe to the steps somebody else thinks I should be ordered for me? Right. This idea of waiting to heal before you do the thing, that's the opposite of living the urgent life. Because if you're constantly waiting until you are healed, or you're constantly waiting until that next thing happens, or you get to the right spot, or then you won't be fulfilled in your life. If I waited to be totally healed from the trauma of my husband dying, I would not have moved across the country. Sure. If I was waiting to be healed from the death of my first child, I would not be a mother today. If I was all these things that we're waiting to accomplish or waiting to be fixed before you can do the next thing, sure. It's like a waste of time.
Yeah, I think it's inspiring when we have the courage to do the next thing and be aware that we're on a healing journey.
Yes.
I'm never going to be fully healed, but I'm in the process of it. I'm working on it. I'm doing this, and I'm going to do it anyways.
And there's no shame.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no shame in that. By the way, that's another whole unlock that I had for myself and in my career, believe it or not, was that I opened this vulnerability that I had closed off before. This idea of the perfection, that things had to be great and complete in order to move to the next thing. You know what? I understand why somebody would say that. You should always be hungry. You should always be chasing. That's a good motivator, to get the next thing so that you wake up and you want to go get it. But that's a terrible way to live. I vehemently disagree with the concept that you should never be satisfied. It's you should be satisfied. You should be satisfied. You should wake up feeling satisfied with your life. It doesn't mean that you don't want the next thing. Of course you want the next thing. But if life were to end today, would you want to have lived an unsatisfied life? No. Would you want I really do think of Peter at those last days. And think about all the things that he was unsatisfied about. I don't want that for myself. I don't want that for you. Yeah. I don't think any of us should live that way. So be satisfied. And that doesn't mean lesser than.
Be satisfied even if you're just starting out as an assistant getting coffee, if you're the CEO, if you're anywhere in between, if you're in an off season.
Yes.
Be satisfied.
Be satisfied with how wonderful you have it. Even the least of us, even the people who are in this terrible place, like I said, we can be satisfied. Like the day after Peter died, actually, no. It was a few days later because we were having his funeral. He died on December 11th, 2013. It was 4 days before his 44th birthday. And so on his 44th birthday, December 15th, we had his funeral and made it a party.
Wow.
And I was sitting there and, kind of in a haze, but then also, that moment of clarity where I'm looking around the room and like his fraternity brothers are drinking beers and they're sharing stories about him. And, my daughter's like sleeping on my mom's lap, and I've got my sisters like in the corner trying to busy themselves, like getting out plates of food and whatnot. And you see people connecting. And it was the oddest thought. I looked around and it was just like, wow, like this is a good group of people. This is a great place to be. To have this. And so I was satisfied in that moment. The most terrible thing had happened in my life. But I was looking around and feeling very satisfied with who I had around me. And that, I think, is what I would like for all of us to consider. That even when things are bad and going wrong, you can still be satisfied. You can still feel like, this is it. And it is okay.
That concludes today's episode of 7 Minutes for Yourself. Please take a moment to rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts. Today and every day with your kiddo is a gift. Enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in.